Duke Ogier had taken rulership of Tuscany at just the age of 9. 41 years later, the independent Empire of Italia was established. Many battles had been fought, and honestly, most were won. This was no doubt the key to our rapid expansion. Neighboring counties and duchies, one by one, had been united to eventually form the Kingdom of Italy, and subsequently Romagna. With our realm and the Italian people unified, we finally had the basis for our empire. Couple this with a growing faction and a few emperor changes, things ultimately led to our final demand, independence. Now, this ultimatum was not met without a fight. A long and drawn-out war involving multiple superpowers eventually led to the fracturing of the HRE mid-conflict. His minimal remaining forces were easy cleanup for our troops, and the conclusion resulted in our free realm. Given this new independence, King Ogier was finally able to create Italia, a free empire. Hey guys, Swati Gaming here. Hope you're all enjoying the holidays. This episode was actually inspired by a YouTube comment, and could potentially set up for the next part of the series. Brian B had asked if we can play someone from our dynasty in the England/Ireland areas, and unfortunately we don't have any Sen in that area with any titles, but it got me thinking, how could we get someone up there? And thus, Project Danelaw was born. Let me know in the comments if this looks like something we'd want as a series, or we can keep advancing the storyline in this format going forward. In any case, let's get things going. I'd started by poking around Ireland a bit and realized all of these rulers were out of my diplomatic range. So naturally, that would rule Scotland out of the question as well. This led me to look towards the south where we find Devon, a single county independent of Danelaw. Its ruler, Countess Maria Petradoter, is unmarried and only has daughters. This is good because our youngest son is not yet married, and she'd probably be willing to marry one of her daughters off to him. Her current heir, the eldest, unfortunately is already married. I'd considered maybe killing him, but my son is pretty young, and by the time they were married, they'd be less likely to have children. And yes, we're going to need a kid to inherit Devon. So, given this, we're going to try and get a hook on Roger and see if we can kill off his wife, as we're going to betroth our son to the second daughter. Zakaria seems to already be in a betrothal, so we're going to have to upset some allies. No worries though, they'll get over it. Now that we've got the scheme set up, buckle in, it's probably going to be a long process. As that simmers, we must address the day-to-day administrative woes. Control will forever be a problem in our realm, so the Marshal will continue to do his tour. We're going to also continue to leverage our relationship with the Pope for more cash, though we kind of told him we'd be participating in the Crusades for Jerusalem. I don't have the heart to tell him that his money will most likely fund future schemes and military advances. Anyway, it also looks like we've got a few powerful vassals that expect some sort of council position, and the only one worthy appears to be Duchess Lucia. It looks like she can be potentially a decent spy master, and although Svanhild is slightly better, she had been carrying us a lot lately, and I bet she can use a break. So we'll let Lucia get her feet wet. I also noticed, however, our son would make a better steward than our current, and this opens up a chancellor position. Unfortunately, our powerful vassals are pretty bad at the role, so we'll opt for this old lady, Mayor Ricciarda. I'd imagine her style of politics being similar to my Italian grandmother. Food, specifically when it comes to tasting her artichokes. I'll miss those artichokes. Anyway, it seems our kids have been running around aimlessly for quite a bit, so our genius knight here, Taddeo, will provide some education. Intrigue has been king around these parts lately, so we'll ensure our son keeps the proper focus. And my god, we've amassed quite a bit of prisoners in our rise to emperor. These 14 should yield quite a bit of cash. Now let's get back to some real emperor business. Count Amalt seems to have claim on the Duchy of Savoy. Given Duchess Oringard has a very limited troop count and no alliances, this should be a painless distraction as our scheme continues. It also appears she's got a liberty war on her hands, so I'd be willing to bet she's going to be a little bit pissed about this. Our army is pretty large, so we're forced to gather in separate counties. This is nice as it gives us a natural two-pronged approach to this war. As we gather, I'm getting a little nervous that we might not be able to catch Savoy's troops in Canavese, so we'll send these guys forward and hopefully catch them. They're pretty skilled, so despite not being fully together, I don't think they'll have a problem. Meanwhile, I will order our squad in Cuneo to head directly to Savole to begin their sieging. It's also been a while since we've recruited some knights, so now's a good time. And, oh god damn, Grim, this guy's a masterpiece of a warrior. 42 personal prowess, and he's 61 years old. This guy's definitely honed his craft. In the interim, Seville goes down without issue, and it looks like his troops are headed to Forcalquier to siege. We will chase them down as our numbers are far superior. Oh, and look at this. It appears amidst our battle, our new spy master, Aloisia, has shown us her true skills. A strong hook on the spy master in Devon should allow us to, let's say, influence the succession in the future. Obviously, we'll be keeping this in our back pocket until we've got the youngest son set up with her heir. And there we go. As I'd mentioned, this would be painless. Caravese falls and we're able to enforce our demands, and just like that, the empire grows by a couple of counties. And as we check out our newly expanded realm, our borders stretch up into Dijon, Burgundy, and just slightly border France. And, oh, looks like an independent county of Lyon. Well, if we don't attempt to vassalize Count Vezian, I bet he'd be easily scooped up by either France or province. A single county count with no allies. This should be a relaxing way to add yet another title to our belt. Again, we're going to go with our signature two-pronged approach, having our Seville troops siege Lyon's holdings, and leaving the other half stationed in Bresse to deal with any battles. Maybe it's kind of like the old saying, a watched pot never boils. I seem to have completely forgotten that we were scheming up in Devon, and good thing too, because it looks like we've successfully fabricated a hook on the heir's husband. He's just been caught naked. Oh gosh. Something makes me wonder why he's so adamant about keeping that hush. I mean, there are plenty of reasonable explanations, like, let's say the bath was cold, or you were near a drafty window. In any case, Roger's now willing to kill his wife, and we'll forget about this whole ordeal. I'm not one to complain when things are going our way. Whilst the usual routine continues in Lyon, it appears I must honor a call to war, and this should be fine since they're attacking Poland, and I can easily contribute by sieging some nearby holdings. With 4 months to go on our murder scheme, I think it's time we ensure our son is properly betrothed, as we can't risk the Countess denying our arrangement to the new heir, and at the moment it seems she'll gladly accept. Now, as expected, our war with Lyon has completed and Italia grows ever so slightly. As we inch forward, so does our murder plans on the heir of Devon. My agents have set up something with a poison duct, but I'm going to insist we use Ricciarda's artichokes. As we know, nobody can resist their deliciousness. Mangiare. Oof. Well, it looks like I've been named in this scheme, and I guess that's what I get for improvising. In any case, this is going to possibly put a damper on our plans, as the Countess is probably going to be a bit upset that I had killed her daughter. Oh, God. It appears I wasn't careful about who I had betrothed my son to, as it looks like the Countess next in line was, in fact, a daughter from another marriage. Yikes. I suspect we're about to make Maria a bit more pissed, as Prince Zaccaria, breaker of betrothals, is going to have to strike again. Luckily for us, though, the next in line, Marie Verrohier, answers to a different liege who doesn't appear concerned enough with what happened in Devon and allows for my son's third betrothal. This one should stick for sure. Now that we've set up our house to potentially inherit Countess Maria's title, it's time for succession. With the help of a few hooks we've gathered, this pissed off mother shouldn't be long for this world. To start off on the right foot, our spy master Lucia suggests we should send a gift to Maria covered in some powder. It's going to cost some gold, but I'm willing to do anything to keep this scheme moving. Our gold coffers are starting to deplete as we've been stuck fighting this war that we've inherited when we took over Lyon. Luckily, we were able to lay siege and finally chase down some of the opposing forces in Venoy. This resulting battle ended up with an imprisoned enemy leader, so we were finally able to put that one to bed and give our troops a well-needed rest. Oh, and it looks like we may even put Countess Maria to rest. It appears we've arranged for her to be accosted in the wood by some bandits. Classic. Maria is no longer now, and her title passes to my son's betrothed. Everything is starting to come together. The new Countess Marie and my son should be wed in a few years, as she's only 9. The only thing is, she's a bleeder, so we're gonna have to hide anything sharp in their court. Now, the only thing to do at this point is to let time take its course, and in the interim, we'll start making friends and actually spend some gold on ourselves for once. A shiny new keep for our castle should look pretty nice, and quite frankly, this stuff is starting to burn a hole in my coffers. Also, R.I.P. Ricciarda. I really wish you had written down your recipes. It looks like France is finally getting around to one of the holes in their realm and is actually seeking our help. I'll gladly assist here as we've pretty much just been chilling. And well, it's about time we unveil our latest in military tech, the three-pronged approach. This allows us to siege Province coast all at once, and ooh, looks like Province isn't too happy about this. They're sending a somewhat laughable force to defend. We're just going to go ahead and split up some of our troops to continue besieging and ready some of our swords in the hills. Looks like they're actually ignoring our hill squad. Oh well, we'll just cut them off before they reach our siege at their capital. And that battle was just enough because Province had thrown in the towel and France cleans up their border gore just a bit. Yes, Zakaria turns 16. He's an intricate web weaver, but I'm more interested in his ability to breed. We now just have to hang on until his betrothed is ready for marriage and hopefully kids, as this will be how we get the title into the Sens Dynasty. She's 13, so just another 3 more years of sporks and rounded objects. Look at this, talk about border gore. As if the HRE wasn't enough of a mess, it seems they also have some territory out here on the Iberian Peninsula. We'll keep an eye out just to see what happens. And wow, time flies as they say. Just like that, 3 years has gone and our lovely Marie is finally of age. She has quite the Midas touch, and this touch seems to have come in handy because it looks like the Countess is pregnant. I only had noticed this because we were fabricating a hook. As you do. This is tremendously good news, as now our dynasty will soon have an heir to Devon. Shoot, it looks like France has had a succession, and well, somehow I have a granddaughter that became queen. They must be pretty stretched for heirs. It also looks like the previous king died in classic Sens style via bubonic plague, and now leaves a child in charge. We'll make sure to watch France closely as it's getting pretty ugly over there. Remember that hook I had on the previous countess? Well, I was thinking of throwing a curveball at Danelaw, and you see, I just arranged my knight Simone di Chatillon to a Waldensian Rodelinda, and quite frankly, I think it would play out kind of interesting to shove a heretic in charge of Devon. So we'll offer Rodelina's guardianship to young Aloisia and sow some heretic seeds, so to speak. Now that we have no use for Countess Marie, I think it's time for her departure. Zakaria isn't too happy, obviously, given they had just wed and had a child, but remember, I'm your father. You'll do these things because you trust in my judgment. We'll throw some money at the others willing to jump on board in case it speeds things up. In any case, 11 months, it shouldn't be too long before the deed is done. Well, hopefully. Queen Antonella appears to have several wars going on, and she's willing to negotiate an alliance. Maybe we can help her out on some of these issues and get France under control. Oh god, what did we get ourselves a part of? Hostile troops in stacks just everywhere. Well, we'll just see if we can pick off some stragglers and at least show some effort. Here we go, we'll park the troops over here in Bar and let things unfold a bit. Oh, well, speaking of unfolding, check this. Countess Marie will head out in the same woods her mother visited not too long ago. Well, like mother, like daughter, it's unfortunate to see you go. And just like that, Countess Aloisia, at the age of 1, gains the title to Devon. As much as it pains me to nope out of this France war, we've got a new storyline to begin, and I'm pretty sure the AI will do a fine job just sorting things out on their own. It is now we take the reins as the young countess and follow our newest journey. First order of business, though, is to get some alliances set up. Our father, Zakaria, needs a new wife, and we can grab a decent alliance with Count Ralph of Maine, and we've also got a pesky aunt who seems potentially deadly if we're not paying attention. Luckily, we've found a lovely gentleman in Brefni willing to take her off our hands. The resulting alliance isn't too bad either. I'm actually feeling like a sitting duck as a weak and independent child just waiting to be conquered. So I think we'll just see if the King of Danelaw will take us in. And it looks like he will gladly oblige to our vassalage, and now things feel just a bit better. This is actually pretty nice because next door, Countess Gwencourt of Cornwall becomes a reasonable target. She's got no alliances and is part of my capital's de jure duchy. So it looks like we were pretty smart to have gotten the fabricate claim task going already. 15 months to wait, I think that should pass pretty quickly. Taking a look at Emperor Ogier here, it appears the French populist revolt is succeeding, and poor Italia's troops are down to 4.4k. Though I think the AI may have just disbanded some of the men-at-arms we had. Or maybe the UI is just being weird, because this just seems very wrong as well. Look at France, what has just happened? I knew things were getting worse, but this is just a flat-out disaster. Well, as we marvel at the newest set of border gore, our suffragan bishop seems to have come through with that claim on Cornwall. It looks like we're fairly even matched, so with one ally we should just be fine. It costs the same to call in Ralph as the other dude from Breffni, so we'll just go with the bigger troops. And actually, despite the smaller troop count, it appears we've got a better commander and men-at-arms, so let's do this. It looks like they're fleeing to the sea, but we should be able to catch them. And, oh, geez, I didn't consider whether or not they'd have mercenaries. Now it looks like they're turning to fight us, and, it's not looking too good. Yep, not so surprising, we were beat and were forced to flee along the southern coast. As we run, it appears the enemy troops are just going to sit and siege our holdings. I'm going to try and meet up with my allies at sea and see where they go. It appears they're going right for a siege on Cornwall. I guess we'll join in and see if we can burn it down quicker than the enemy. Now, with 7 months expected on our siege versus their 5, I don't want to risk throwing away this war. We'll just run over there and see if we can battle them on our home turf. We caught them sieging, and this should be a fairly simple battle. Yes, not even a sweat. Now, the only thing to do is siege Cornwall, and that should be it. Cornwall falls, and there you have it. We just have to enforce our demands and marvel at what we've accomplished at just 4 years old. The other nice thing, though, is we've got some gold, so it looks like we can create the Duchy of Cornwall. You're now the mighty Duchess. So easy. Well, guys, I think that's all I'm looking to accomplish this episode. Definitely let me know your thoughts on whether or not we want to continue this story or just look somewhere else. I mean, France is about to fracture once again in this Toulouse independence war. Also, definitely let me know on the format. Obviously, we can cover a lot of ground more quickly this way, but we do lose a lot of the raw gameplay footage. Either way, I enjoyed doing this and making this kind of content, so I will keep at it. Happy New Year to anyone watching this before 2020 ends, and I really hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.